I knew something was wrong the moment she started humming again. It was a small thing, just a tune she used to hum when we first met, but it had disappeared from her lips years ago. Now suddenly it was back soft and sweet, while she made breakfast one morning. I watched her from the kitchen doorway, and for a moment I wanted to believe she was happy because of me. But the way her eyes avoided mine when she turned around told me otherwise. Her name's Sarah. We'd been married for 6 years. College sweethearts who thought love could conquer rent, exhaustion, and fading passion. I worked in maintenance for a private high school, fixing locks, mopping floors, replacing bulbs. She was the art teacher. The irony isn't lost on me now, that the same place where I held her hand in the hallways every lunch break would become the ground zero of my humiliation. It started subtly. She began staying late after school, saying she was prepping projects. Then came the late-night showers, the forgot my phone in the car excuses, the distant laughter during dinner. I asked her once if something was wrong. She smiled, kissed my cheek, and said, "You worry too much." But the truth has a way of finding its path through the smallest cracks. One evening, I was cleaning the hallway near the art room long after classes had ended. Most of the staff had gone home. I heard voices, hers and another man's. I recognized the voice before I saw him. Jacob, the new janitor. A quiet guy, maybe in his late 20s, always nodding politely when I passed by. I shouldn't have listened, but I did. "Don't worry," she whispered. "He never suspects a thing." There was a sound, soft laughter, then the rustle of fabric, and I froze. My stomach felt like it had turned inside out. I wanted to walk in, to scream, to tear down the walls, but I didn't. Instead, I walked away, every step heavier than the last. That night, I sat in the car outside our apartment until dawn, trying to convince myself that I had misheard. But her scent on my work jacket, his cheap cologne faintly clinging to it, confirmed what I already knew. For weeks, I pretended not to know. I couldn't bring myself to confront her. There was still this pathetic hope that maybe she'd stop, that maybe she'd remember who I was, the man who once biked across town just to bring her soup when she had the flu. But love doesn't erase betrayal. It only deepens the wound when it comes. She told me she was pregnant 2 months later. Her voice trembled with what I thought was joy. "We're finally going to be parents," she said, hugging me. I should have felt happy. Instead, I felt a hollow ache that made my chest tighten. I did the math in my head. And my silence must have said more than I intended, because she pulled back and looked at me. "You don't seem excited," she said softly. I forced a smile. "Just shocked, that's all." But that night I couldn't sleep. The thought kept circling my mind, was the child even mine? The truth came out 3 weeks later, though not in the way I expected. I found her phone on the couch, buzzing with a message. A photo appeared on the screen, Jacob shirtless, holding a paintbrush. The caption, "Can't wait to meet our little masterpiece." I stared at it until my eyes burned. I didn't feel rage at first, just this crushing sadness that made me feel small, invisible. Then something in me snapped. When she came home that evening, I was waiting at the table. Her phone was in front of me. She froze, eyes darting from the screen to my face. "Whose masterpiece?" I asked quietly. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Then she sat down, tears spilling almost immediately. "It's not what you think," she began, "because that's how they all begin, isn't it?" I let her talk. About loneliness. About how I had become distant. About how she didn't mean for it to happen. Every word dug the knife deeper. When she finally said, "But I want us to raise this baby together," something inside me went cold. "You want me," I said slowly, "to raise the child you made with the janitor?" She started sobbing, covering her face. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just stood up, walked to our bedroom, and started packing. For weeks she tried to contact me. Calls, texts, emails. Each one more desperate than the last. She told me she'd broken things off with him, that he didn't want to be involved, that she was punished enough. But every apology felt hollow. You can't unburn a bridge that's already ashes. When the school year ended, I handed in my resignation. I couldn't walk those halls anymore. Not with everyone whispering behind my back. I heard later that Jacob had been fired for unprofessional conduct. Sarah stayed on, though I doubt she paints as freely now. I didn't seek revenge in the dramatic sense. No shouting in hallways, no public exposure. My revenge was quieter but more lasting. I went to family court and filed for separation. She pleaded, said she'd change, that she couldn't do it alone. I simply said, "You already chose to. It's been a year now. I've moved to another town, got a job fixing things again, doors, lights, broken things that can be made whole. Funny how much comfort there is in that. I live in a small apartment with a view of the river. Sometimes when I see families walking by, I wonder what my child, if I'd had one with her, would have looked like. But then I remember the lies, the smell of another man's cologne on my jacket, and I breathe easier." Last week I got a letter from Sarah. She wrote that she'd had the baby, a boy. She said he looked a little like me. Maybe it was an attempt at kindness, or maybe it was just guilt spilling out onto the page. I didn't respond, because the truth is I don't hate her anymore. I pity her. She destroyed something pure for something fleeting. And as much as it broke me, it also set me free. Now when I fix a broken lock or replace a shattered window, I think about how not everything can be repaired. Some cracks are meant to stay as reminders, so we don't forget what it took to rebuild ourselves. And maybe that's the closest thing to peace I'll ever have.